up, guys? Keith, aka Gator Guy 231, here to break down all the EPL action today, which is Tuesday, July 7th. So we've got a two-game classic slate, and then Arsenal versus Leicester at 3:15, which is the bigger showdown slate. Still over 6,000 entries, 80K prize pool. I think that the one yesterday filled, which was over 9,000 entries. I at least saw close to 9,000 right at lock. So DK didn't get massive overlay where they owed money, at least on it. So hopefully we'll continue to get those big ones. Shout out to so many of my of you listeners and subscribers in the FSI channel that either messaged me or I got to see in our Discord, but tons of winners from some of the strategies yesterday. A lot of Laurie's captain when I talked about him having some of the biggest ceiling on the slate. So good for all of you. Really happy to see the wins and just to see this keep going along. Let's keep it up today. So at the end of this, I'm going to start with the classic slate. I am going to break down Leicester Arsenal, so just make sure that you watch this through the end. And finally, please continue just to hit, if you are new to the show or the preview or whatever the hell we're going to call this, hit subscribe. Don't know how much it helps. Subscribe, like, comment, all really, really helps me and our site continue to grow this channel. All right, let's jump into the games. So let's start again with the classic slate. So Chelsea minus 217 away to Palace plus 588. Chelsea is going to be the overwhelming chalk on the classic slate. They just have the names that people want. Palace has been bad the last two games. I just expect a lot of people gravitate towards Chelsea pieces. The other game is Watford at home minus 156, Norwich plus 416. So funny enough, I think I'm talking myself into liking Watford more than Chelsea. I'm gonna have Chelsea pieces irregardless, but Watford is going to come in so much lesser owned, and this game, both are important. Okay, so let's go over the standings and just kind of what this means to everybody, because I think more and more as we get towards the end of the season, we've got to keep our eye on that, because without a crowd, without that added intensity that the screaming fans add, I think it's really important that we know what these players are playing for. Okay. So Watford, let's start with Watford. Watford is playing for their damn Premier League lives. Right now on the table, they have 28 points. Aston Villa has 27. Bournemouth has 27. So they're only 1 point removed from, two different relegation spots, all right? Norwich is at 21. Technically they're still playing for their lives, but Norwich it's just not happening for them. And they've kind of come out of break not looking like it's going to happen for them. So I really think Watford's gonna look like a team just shot out from hell and attack them. Now that said, Chelsea has a ton to play for too. They're at 57 points, are only 2 points clear of Man United, but only 1 point away from Leicester. Obviously, Man United, you could argue is the best team in the Premier League right now. Like my Liverpool club at this point officially looks like they won the championship and they don't care about the records. Something I'll be going over the next Liverpool slate. But Man United, since Bruno's gotten there, just so good. And I mean, at this point, I don't think anybody's putting past them that they could even get up to that third slot with Leicester, who's struggling, and Chelsea, who's very Jekyll and Hyde, it feels like, since they've come back. But they are coming off a great performance on the weekend. I do, favor them obviously here. It's just, I think a team like Watford, it's just an ownership thing, as well as I just think Norwich is exceedingly awful. And so I'm going to be definitely trying to get in some Watford pieces, and maybe not the most conventional one. Okay, I think that kind of sums up the table. So everybody has something to play for. The funny enough, the team that has the least to play for is Crystal Palace. So, maybe I will talk myself into more Chelsea. The cool thing about is this, though, all right, about two-game slates, you can play a couple lineups, and you can just run a couple different scenarios, and you can run some crazy scenarios, but that, are crazy, but not that crazy. Like a full Watford stack, but you can still easily get in like a Willian or get in like a Pulisic or get in like an Alonso, something like that. And then on the other side of things, you can easily run a Chelsea stack and still get your Will Hughes, still get a fullback, maybe, go weird if like Danny Welbeck starts play Danny Welbeck. So you can still mix those two in, and there are going to be a couple of value plays I'll bring up. All right, let's start with Chelsea. So big thing with Chelsea is that N'Golo Kante is out. He's probably out for the next 2. So we're either going to see Billy Gilmore or Jorginho start at that like 6/pivot role for them. From the comments, it looks like it's going to be Billy Gilmore. I honestly don't know what's going on with Jorginho. I've never been a fan, but it's kind of crazy just to see them just letting him go. And hell, with Juve getting Artur, I don't know if even Jorginho's illegitimate chain-smoking dad can bring him over there. So I don't know what's in the store for him. And if you don't know the chain-smoking dad, it's sorry. I really do think that at some point we might find out that he has some relation to Jorginho for his love and admiration for that guy. Anyhow, in this scenario, Willian has been taking all sets for Chelsea lately and honestly just been awesome. He's in contract dispute, so maybe there's even that little extra bit of FU going on. They only want to give him, I think it's 2 years. He wants a 3-year deal. But anyhow, look for him just to continue to be – he should be the top owned player on the slate for cash. Again, whenever I say ownership, I'm kind of leaning towards cash, but I think in GPP he's also the highest owned. Secondly is Christian Pulisic, who's been absolutely amazing since the return. Captain America, he's just been taking people on. If you actually watch just the attacking and some of the runs he's making is awesome. And I don't think DK has him priced up enough. I think he's only 8,700. So I think more often than not, the first 2 names in the people's lineup, both for cash and GPP, it's going to be Christian Pulisic and Willian. Now, where can you maybe try to be differentiate yourself? Maybe it's throwing like a Tammy Abraham, or if this is Olivier Giroud, throwing one of them in over the other forward, or you're going to see a lot of people show up with Chelsea stacks and just playing this front 3. Ross Barkley's coming off of another good game, goal and assist on the weekend. I'm never a Ross Barkley guy when he doesn't have sets. I think that he's just a little bit maybe pricey and, very sub-risk. But, again, I think if you're starting to stack Chelsea up, you're going to be looking for not only – we're going to go over the defenders in a second, but some combo of this front 3, maybe 1 or 2 of the midfield, and then at least one of these fullbacks. Billy Gilmore, nice player, good story, just not going to do that much. Again, in this system that Chelsea has, both Mount and Barkley are very, very, very attacking. Very attacking. So you cannot just leave the back 4 completely open. Unfortunately, especially if a guy like Kurt Zuma is playing, you need some support. And Marcos Alonso, I'm going to go over in a second, he is not a defender at all. He thinks he's a winger. He still thinks Antonio Conte is there, and he's playing 3-4-3. So he's going to bomb forward a ton. So it's going to make Azpilicueta, Christensen, and then whether this is Rudiger, I don't know if he's fit. I don't really research center backs before these previews, or Zuma, but they need protection. So Billy Gilmore is going to be sitting very deep. Mason Mount is fine. He does kind of look a little burned out. But if for some reason we didn't see Willian, he would be on sets, and then he would be a free square. Speaking of defender, Marcos Alonso is 100% the class of the defender slate. I want to look this up real quick. Not forward. Since we've got back, so we had that 11 cross game against West Ham. Only 2 versus City, but 6 versus Villa. Anyhow, take out the City game, 17.6 and 12.2 in his last 2. So very, very, very attacking-minded fullback, 6,400. I think that he's going to be the defender that you want to pay up for. If you can't quite get there, as long as Azpilicueta is on the right, he's going to get forward a ton. And I like him. You get a $500 discount. I don't play Kepa because Kepa concedes, but maybe he gets clean. I don't know. whatever. I'm just not a Kepa guy. On the Palace side of things, it's a really tough spot to target Palace. They're very much a counterattacking team, so I would just tell you to stay away, not to worry about the sets nearly as much on this slate. So a guy like Miljesevic or Patrick Van Aanholt, for classic cash, I think it's just a pretty easy fade. I don't think that either one of them is an easy fit, nor do I think that Palace is going to be having a ton of corners that you want to target. If you do want to get a Palace piece, I will 100% be looking at the counter and for a goal scorer. So the likes of Jordan Ayew, Benteke, or Wilf Zaha to get them on a counter. Yeah, I think that's Palace. Giata is very in play, especially if you are trying to look for an extra salary saver. I think that Ben Foster, we're going to go over in a second. I think he'll be the most popular goalie on the slate, followed probably by Kepa. So maybe Kepa and Foster, maybe they're like 1-2. I don't know where people will go. I won't go Kepa. So that's enough said there. But then I think Giata is the third most, and I don't think you'll see much Tim Krul at all. Maybe you will, because more people are going to be on Willian and Pulisic. So I doubt that they're going to want to go Giata. So yeah, maybe actually Tim Krul's more, and I prefer Giata. All right, I think that wraps up that game. Let's go down to Watford versus Norwich. I am big on Watford today. I just think that Norwich is that bad that it makes me, really want to side towards Watford. And the other cool thing is that their prices, outside of Sarr, whose price got way out of control. Let's see what it was again. But it's out of control. 9,400. Like that as a GPP pivot because he's more than Pulisic, so he's not going to be highly owned. But that's an interesting price that DK went there. So anyhow, let's talk about Watford. And I do think that this lineup is very much close to correct. So maybe with the exception of being it's Welbeck in, or is it Pereira? Don't think it'll be Tom Cleverley. Yeah, so Watford, if this is the case, Messina and Will Hughes are your set taker. I'm sorry, Will Hughes will almost be on all of the sets for them in this situation. You could see Messina take a free kick in an occasional corner, but Will Hughes would be on the majority. He's coming off a absolutely sensational game versus Chelsea, where they were routed, yet Hughes still showed up at 13.4 DK, which included 5 crosses, mostly from corners, and 2 fouls drawn. The cool thing too is if you see Welbeck in, like they have on that lineup prediction. So if you see Welbeck, this is actually going to be a 2-striker system. And there's a decent shot if you see Capu and Decore, and that Will Hughes is actually going to be playing out wide on the left, which obviously would only increase his floor a little bit, being in a wide position versus centrally. Troy Deeney, club captain for a while. He is my bold prediction that he's going to score a goal today. I don't know if he's that bold. I don't look at really goal scoring odds, but just really like him to show up. Norwich is just consistently struggling. He's on PKs. This is the must-win game for Watford. So I really like their club captain, their striker, just a dude with a ton of heart, Troy Deeney, to show up with the goal. Sarr is their best player, not only for DFS, but in real life, just attacking down the right. I think he's going to give Norwich all sorts of problems. He is fine, but just kind of like I already brought up to you, his price is prohibited. I'm not even going to try. You know what's funny? We always joke about my pronunciation on all of these players' names, and then I get like a very American word and I can't say it. So screw that. Anyhow, Sarr's going to be a problem for Norwich, just attacking down the right. Again, I don't think you're going to see him nearly as owned as maybe he should be because of Pulisic's price. I'm not saying it's a cash play, but I'm saying if you want a GBP leverage and you want some Watford stacks, don't leave Sarr out, and you're going to enjoy the ownership he's going to have. Decore always, man, he's so weird. Nothing he does on the pitch looks all that graceful, but he's a really good player, and could totally see him show up with a goal here. So there's another low-owned goal. Danny Welbeck at the end, that's a cheap forward. At some point in his career, he had a lot of class and a lot of, I guess he wasn't ever that great of a finisher, but always, a good striker, good work rate, did a lot of things. And he can show up with a goal still, so I think it's worth it. Kiko and Messina are fine for fullback position. Just, I would prioritize Chelsea fullbacks over Watford. They're just more in line to attack, but I still like them. Ben Foster, probably my favorite goalie in the slate. Catch this on Norwich, and on that note, we're gonna go over them. But I could not believe this when I saw it. 16 away games this season for Norwich. 6 goals. 6 goals. It's just I can't see anything like it. The second worst in the league is Watford with 11 away from home. But Watford is not away from home. They are at home. And it's Norwich, and there's 6 goals showing up. So 6 goals in 16. Yeah, kind of like Ben Foster. So let's go over to Norwich. You can pay up for Buendia, and he is probably okay. But if they're not going to score, all right, which, let's just be real. If you score 1 goal every 2 games away from home, can I really project you to score? Probably not. So, Buendia, yeah, does he have a floor? Of course he does, especially if Duda isn't in. He has a floor. But what is his ceiling if they don't score, right? So what are you expecting, 11, 12? That's great, but it's going to, take away from a Chelsea piece or maybe like a Watford piece. So anyhow, yeah, I don't think I would be in Buendia today, especially if you see Duda and they split and it hurts both. Now, if you don't see Buendia and you just see Duda, he's like 6K, so I can like that a little bit more than Buendia, who is 8,000. Actually, 8K is not that bad. We're going to see him in cash, but I think in GPP it's a worthy fade. Could it be a pukey party? It could, but again, I'm not looking for Norwich to be putting goals up here, so I will be fading the pukey party. The guy I am actually really, really, really interested in from Norwich and makes a lot of items work is Onel Hernandez. So in the last start, Onel was quite awesome versus Brighton before he subbed. 8.6 DK, 4 shots, 2 shots assisted, a cross, foul drawn, and he just literally looked like the best Norwich player on the pitch. Like, to me, he outclassed Buendia, outclassed Duda, who are supposed to be much more sought-after players. So I think O'Neill's trying to make a final season push for either his spot on the club next season in the championship or maybe a transfer, because Todd Cantwell, has kind of been the guy people have their eyes on, and O'Neill is trying to say, hey, don't forget about me, guys. Last game came at half, 45 minutes, 6.2 DK. Game beforehand, he got a start for 79 minutes, 4.7 DK. He is only 3,400. So I really like him, especially. I didn't mention this on Watford. So if you see Chabaloa, and nice player, former Chelsea guy, was on him on Showdown. He can split some corners with Will Hughes. So if maybe you see him in here, maybe he's over Welbeck, and they do like a 3-man midfield with Decore more playing like a floating 10 role. If that's the case, he's only, I think, like 3.3 or 3.2 DK. Get some Watford sets and just a nice player. So think of that. So yeah, those are the 3 that would be the most in play for Norwich. I don't think you need Aarons or Jamal Lewis. If they're the last guy in, then that's fine. I think people that are going to be doing Chelsea stacks will look at Tim Krul as their goalie. He's definitely going to get busy. He is so bad for Arsenal. It's just it's tough. It's tough to want to go there. Yeah, I think that sums up Norwich well. So let's just kind of go over what we do on all these things. Is just talk about a little bit of strategy. So again, I think that mixing Watford and Chelsea is going to be the popular way, with more people leaning towards full Chelsea stacks. So if you do want that GPP leverage, maybe less Chelsea, more Watford is a way to do it. Or just start trying to think, even if you are team pro Chelsea, you think I'm an idiot for my Watford love, which I very well could be. I mean, I have made many mistakes on this video, but start thinking about like what you need to do to be different. So I had somebody in our Discord ask a cool question. I don't remember who it was, but shout out to whoever it was. He said, if I only have 1 shot in the big GPP, is it really worth me playing? Can I win? Or actually, I think the answer was, or the question was, how many lineups do I need to make to actually have a shot? And my answer was 1, with this caveat. It's 1, but understanding that if I want to win, if the whole reason I'm entering the GPP is to win, it is not to min cash, and that should never be your goal in GPP, but is to win, I need to go, what is the outcome that is going to happen that not too many people are going to want to do that's going to give me a chance to win? So if I show up with Pulisic, Willian, Will Hughes, Marcus Alonso, I don't really know if you could feed Cesar Azpilicueta, but Cesar Azpilicueta So I show up with like the 5 most popular Chelsea guys, and I say, I'm not going to fade those. Then I got to figure out the 1 to 2 players in my lineup that's going to make a difference, and be different than everybody else. That's going to make these same chalk constructions, especially on a 2-game slate. So maybe that's, instead of Will Hughes, I need to show up with Decore for a goal, or if Welbeck's in, I show up with a Welbeck goal, or Craig Dawson is incredibly active on set pieces. Maybe I show up with Craig Dawson as a defender pivot. Center back goals are always underowned. They have no floor, but they have a lot more goal scoring upside than a fullback. So I need to be thinking about those type of pivots. Or I need to go, everybody's going to be on Pulisic, or everybody's going to be on Willian. Tammy Abraham's going to be owned, but lesser owned. I want to show up with him. Or maybe I want to fade Willian, and maybe I want to show up with Ross Barkley. You've got to be thinking about these pivots away from the main and the optimal plays that are going to be in cash games to give yourself a GPP shot. So, just take that as a little bit of advice. If you really want to be thinking about how to win these tournaments, you got to be thinking about what's the outcome least likely to happen. And I'll just give one more. If you really want the least likely outcome, I said Kepa concedes, because Kepa does like to concede. Chelsea likes to let in an occasional goal. So show with a 8% Christian Benteke goal. Okay, now you're cooking. All right, let's quickly go over Watford and Norwich, Arsenal and Leicester, the showdown, and then just get out of here. I'm not going to spend as much time as I normally do on showdowns for this. So I think this is big thing on the Leicester side of things, and we'll start there, is James Maddison still is very, very much in doubt. Don't think we will see him. And Ben Chilwell is also in doubt. Don't remember if he's already been ruled out, but everything I've seen, he is not to play. You get a drink real quick. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with like a 5-man backline or not. But let's just say that it's what we see here. So Christian Fuchs, when he actually is playing fullback, count the center backs, but when he's playing fullback, is very attack oriented, can cross the ball well, and is very cheap, makes a lot of things happen. James Justin has been awesome since taking over for the injured Ricardo Pereira. So your 2, big floor Leicester that aren't on sets is going to be Fuchs and James Justin. Now, if this is a lineup, this is the case, and we don't see Albrighton, and that's a big if. Albrighton started the last 2. He's been okay, but better for DFS than he is probably for real life. But if you don't see Albrighton, your Tielemans is on every single set piece for Leicester and becomes the easy lock of the slate. Now, Arsenal defensively is starting to look a lot better, even with Luiz and Mustafi in the lineup. Like, never thought I'd see the day that Luiz, Mustafi, and Granit Xhaka could be in a lineup, and they're keeping a clean sheet versus Wolverhampton at Wolves. So that was a crazy thing. But maybe Torreira is even fit too, which will help suit up their defensive likeness, their ability. I cannot think this morning. Anyhow, we're still talking about Leicester. So I say all that to go, it might be a really good spot to fade Nacho and Vardy, especially with a lacking of creativity without Maddison. Good for Leicester to get off the schneid last game, but, Palace was quite awful in the second half. And I really think that first half you did see a lot of Leicester can struggle without Maddison. Let's just put it that way, especially to break down a defense. And if Arsenal is, this new Arsenal that's playing much better, it might be a good spot to fade the Vardy party or Nacho. Iosi Perez, won't be a guy I'm ever playing. Just no floor. I'd be interested to see if Harvey Barnes, after the 2 assists in the second half, does get the start. I think that wraps up Leicester pretty well. Let's go over to Arsenal. PEA will be the most popular player on the slate. It's just there's going to be the value to get to him. So he'll probably be the first player in your lineup. I'm always team Danny Ceballos. Love this guy so much. He's just so damn smooth. Did not have a great game versus Wolves, but I'm very, very easy to overlook that. Still is a good price, so I think he's the other main target for me. So it's PEA and Danny Ceballos. Now, Saka scored last game and also took a corner, so he is very interesting, especially if he plays in his advanced roles. I do wonder if they bring Pepe back into the fold. I haven't looked if there's like a match fitness thing. I noticed he was not in the squad last game. Actually, let's just quickly look that up, because that is really weird that he just wasn't even in. But Arsenal just like, I feel at this point they're playing a lot for pride, just because he just wasn't in the side. Just trying to see real quick if they have anything here. Oh, they just okay. So my bad, guys. Nicolas Pepe, they do have his doubtful for fitness issues. So let's go ahead and proceed. Like this lineup is pretty good. So Saka maybe over here on the right, or it could be Reece Nelson. But I think given the bigness of the game, still a top 4 opponent, I think they will start Saka. So again, if he's going to split sets with Danny Ceballos, I'm very interested. Lacazette, more GPP. Tierney is very cheap. Good player out on the left, so I think I like him. He does a lot more DFS goodness than Bellerin does over here on the right. Then your back three is your back three. Like they're all like last man in. I do think going towards like GPP goodness on here, it's the same strategy we used yesterday that a lot of people had success in. So you got to think about like what's the scoreline. So 1-0 Arsenal scoreline or 2-0 Arsenal scoreline. You've got to have Emiliano Martinez, who's been awesome since coming in for Bernlindo. And if you do think like Leicester pulls the upset, let's say that they win 1-0 or 2-1 or something like that, Kasper Schmeichel is going to be active. He's going to see shots. And, even if he concedes a goal, he could still easily show up with 10 to 12 DK, which you're going to want. He'll also be that much lesser owned than Martinez. So, again, if you think Arsenal is going to win like 1-0 or 2-0, get the PEA goal. Let's, maybe you want to be cheeky with Lacazette, Ceballos, Martinez, maybe like a Tierney or a Bellerin, and you rock and roll. Run it back with Tielemans, because even if it's 2-0, Tielemans on all the sets, that's an easy play. All right, guys. It was fun this morning. Let's get some more victories. Once again, Keith, a.k.a. Gator Guy 231. Hope you have a great day and good luck.